Okay, so this blew me away. But before I get into this, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'm gonna jump right into this. CNN breaking news tweets: the CDC releases guidelines giving limited freedoms to people fully vaccinated against COVID-19. Here are the rules. This is completely absurd. When does the authoritarianism end? When do people push back on this? So, eh, you know, where is this going to lead to? How are they going to enforce any of this stuff? It, what, you're going to need your papers now to travel anywhere or go to the grocery store? Any of this? How are they going to enforce this? They're going to try to force people to get vaccines. I'll tell you this right now. I was never planning on getting this vaccine, and it has nothing to do with any, with Trump or any of that. You know, it that's just my personal choice. I'm just being under the age of 70 and in decent health. I'm not going to do it. I don't have to do it. You know, that's just me. But this is this is getting way out of hand. This is going way too far. And I am truly disgusted by this. And I, when are people going to wake up? Seriously, when are people going to wake up and say enough's enough? Give limited freedoms. It's insane. And I can't tell. I'm looking at these comments, and I can't tell if. I hope some of these people are joking, but would not surprise me if they weren't. This. I can't even read this shit. I'm truly disgusted with what this country has become. I don't have any other words for it. I'm I'm over it. At all this mask. But what are you gonna do? They're just gonna keep doing this, and but I just hope that you know you got to make your own decisions. But there's got to be a point where we fight back against this, because this is it's bad enough that they went and did this for a whole year. They destroyed the economy. They, you know, governors in these states killed people. It's not just Como. It's all of them. It's all of them. I know I saw an article today that they got enough to charge Whitmer, the governor of Michigan, enough to charge her with killing these people. So what do they got on Como? I can only imagine that it's going to be. But there's never going to be any justice for that. Everybody knows it, him being investigated is a joke. You know, much like just like the investigation into Joe Biden. You think that that's not gonna? It's insane. But I want to talk about more than this. I mean, this is pretty extreme, giving limited freedoms. Anyway, so a couple of things I want Andy know. It's from the Multnomah County DA's office. DA Mike Schmidt, everybody knows who that is, the guy that doesn't charge people for the crimes that they commit. Now all of a sudden he's investigating the firebombing at where they burned some trucks for for like kids. It's food trucks for like kids lunches, frozen foods and refrigerated foods. So that's nice. But and everybody knows that it was Antifa and BLM and all that stuff. And so you expect me to believe that the guy that let Portland burn for the last year is suddenly going to do his job? That the investigation's going to be a joke. They're never going to find him. Whatever. So I wanted to play this video and just highlight some of the things that people were saying. So I'm just going to play it.
Yeah, I mean, graffiti definitely I get tired of cleaning up. I wish they'd find another way to express themselves.
The graffiti and worse, the broken glass. There was a lot of it in the Pearl after a march turned into a destructive vandalism spree on Saturday night. Some of the targets, a Starbucks and Umpqua Bank.
We knew it was going to happen. I spent Tuesday through Thursday communicating with anybody that would listen, begging for help.
Jim Rice and his wife own the Fields Bar and Grill. They had a window broken out Friday night that prompted them to board up for what they saw coming Saturday. The grill employs 18 people trying to make a comeback from COVID closures.
Only for us to be hit with this group coming in and destroying our neighborhood, forcing us to react by putting up boards and protections for our business that we really don't have the money to invest in.
Ironically, City Hall may make it easier to go beyond boarding up. An ordinance proposed by Mayor Ted Wheeler and Commissioner Dan Ryan would streamline the process for installing security lights and gates.
Oh, it makes me very angry, very angry. And that's what I was thinking, okay, we have to do something, we being the people.
So, I feel for these people, they have no say in what, in any of the stuff that happens. And nobody cares, their leaders have abandoned them. But at the same time, they voted for this stuff. So why should I feel bad for them? And at the same time, if your leaders have failed you, you have to stand up for yourself. They're not going to do it for you. They're not going to help you. Nobody's going to save you. You have to save yourself. If you want to save your business from scumbags breaking your windows and trying to set the place on fire, and the police aren't going to do it, I won't directly blame the Portland police because they do try to arrest people, but they never get charged. So, it's Mike Schmidt, So It's not going to go away. They're not going to save you. It's just, that's the way that it is. You have to do it yourself. And, you know, whatever happens, happens, I guess. You know, these leftists are, you know, they say police your own, you know, we could police our own community. Maybe that's what needs to happen. Maybe people need to start policing their own community and this stuff won't happen. You know? You know, they keep pushing for all this nonsense, you know, abolishing the police and all that. There's a lot of people that are fed up and just waiting for that. And that's going to be ugly. These people don't know what they're actually asking for, because I could tell you that, you know, 130-pound soy boys aren't going to be doing too well against a lot of angry people. But, you know, the biggest thing that you can do is vote these people out. You know, if they have to get rid of that DA, you have to get rid of Ted Wheeler. So I don't know what you do. I don't know, you know, is what it is, I guess. So while I'm on the topic of these riots, I think I already played this video, but so they found in the squad car Floyd was taking drugs while on the police squad car before he died. You know, I'm not going to comment too much on that, but that cop, he's going to walk. He's going to walk, and it's they're already saying it's going to be 10 times worse. The riots are going to be 10 times worse this summer. And you know what it is? It's because it has nothing to do with this cop and George Floyd and all this stuff. It's because they know that Joe Biden is weak. And so they are going to push very hard. And Joe Biden has no control over any of this. So it's going to be crazy. It's going to be a crazy summer. But I want to talk about this too. You know, going back to some of my earlier videos when I was talking about states seceding. Here we go. GOP chair says Western states watching Texas secession effort. This is from January 19th. Now, I don't know. I would have thought that I don't care for how they frame everything in this article, but whatever. Casper, the chairman of the Wyoming Republican Party, on Friday said Western states are paying attention to the efforts by some in Texas far right, to try to secede from the United States. Appearing on former White House Chief Strategist Steve Bannon's War Room podcast last week to discuss Liz Cheney's vote to impeach Trump, Ethorn made the comment in response to a Bannon question about what conservatives should keep in mind in light of their movement's recent political losses. Thorne said on the broadcast, which was recently banned by YouTube for peddling misinformation, blah blah blah. Here's the key part. Many of these Western states have the ability to be self-reliant, and we're keeping our eyes on Texas too in their consideration of possible secession. They have a different state constitution than we do as far as wording, but it's something we're all paying attention to. So, you know, just like with the COVID restrictions, once Texas took it away, they all did. They're all doing it. I think Florida was first, but you know, I don't. Florida, South Dakota, place like that didn't even lock down, but they're following Texas's lead for the most part. States like Mississippi, stuff like that. So, here's another point that I wanted to highlight. In December, the conservative talk radio host Rush Limbaugh raised the subject to his 15.5 million listeners, saying in one broadcast, "I actually think that we're trending towards secession." A Mississippi state representative recently suggested to his Twitter followers that his own state, which had a Confederate battle flag on, who cares, should consider breaking off from the country and forming its own state. So everybody's that it's not just Texas. It's going to be all of the red states. You know? And I could definitely see, you know, why wouldn't. But more than just seceding and becoming their own little nation states or whatever, why wouldn't they just all join together? I think it would be better that way, but we'll see. But I thought that was interesting, so I had to bring that up. And this was another one I thought was interesting. Matt Gaetz wonders if a transition from Biden to Harris is already underway. You know, a lot of people are saying this, and I thought it was pretty funny, but it definitely seems that way. You know, it's weird. You know, when you compare, like, it used to never see, like, you would never see like Trump and Mike Pence together. You know, because they're doing their own things. You know, they each have a job to do and they were doing it. But have you ever noticed how it seems like a large percentage of the time when Joe Biden's doing something, she's right behind him? You know? And you'd never see that with Mike Pence. He wouldn't just be standing behind Trump all the time. So, there's that. But, you know, he goes on to say the transitions may already be underway. I mean, Biden's a weak old man. That's just the truth. I mean, look at him. Just look in this picture. I don't know. He does not look too good. Remember when he said he fractured his leg? Okay. So, you know, I've been saying for a long time that I thought that was the case, that was going to end up happening, because there's no way I mean, Biden's had 2 brain aneurysms. The dude doesn't even know. He barely knows what's going on. Harris has been taking phone calls on his behalf and doing all this nonsense. You know, he's a weak old man. You know, so when we get into this, they're going to riot because they can. At least Trump tried to stop it. You know, he was not, you know, he didn't want to be seen as some kind of dictator by, you know, that, and they smeared him like that anyway. So I don't know why you wouldn't just do it, but you know, could you imagine if he had declared martial law and sent the military into these cities and shut this down? They would have crucified him. But honestly, that's what he should have done. Because obviously the cities and towns aren't going to, they're not going to do it. And that's why, you know, I feel bad for these people because they're just now, you know, I don't know where they've been thinking that, you know, they've been rioting for a year, for over a year in Portland. And they're just now complaining about it. They're just now saying this is enough. You broke my window. They've been breaking windows for over a year now. It's going to be a crazy summer. But so I don't know what these people expect. Anyway, you know, if your government has failed you, it's your responsibility then. Yeah. So China deploys, it's a little bit different from what I normally talk about, but China deploys 7 nuclear submarines to counter us. They weren't very secretive about it because it's on Google Earth. But things are escalating. Not just that. They're definitely trying to test Biden to see if he's going to actually do anything. And considering that I believe that he works for the Chinese to some degree, you know, it's not so much about what they do, it's what's happening behind the scenes. So he's going to respond to this, but it's all theater, you know. But still, this is cause for concern because you don't know what they're actually doing, you know. So I mean, I guess just all we could do is keep an eye on it and see what happens because, you know, Joe Biden's not really going to do anything about it. But yeah, it's going to be a crazy summer. I know that. But yeah, I think I'm going to leave it there.